the Congresswoman is suggesting that you, Congressman Biggs, and others are misleading the base. But when I talk to many in Washington, D.C., like Russ Vought, who knows the Hill very well, they suggest that it's the other way around. What's going on here?
Well, I love Marjorie, but here, I mean, she's kind of crossed a Rubicon there. She's calling us liars and saying we're misleading. But here's the whole deal. The parliamentary process for electing a speaker goes like this. It's designed for the majority party to win. That's simply the way it's set up. That's why you have the denominator system where it's whoever votes. You got to get a majority of whoever votes, not the body. It's not a majority of the quorum. It's the majority of whoever votes. So if the majority party does what it's supposed to do, they'll win.
God, do they have an ability to speak a lot of words that mean a whole lot of zero? That was GOP Rep Andy Biggs slamming Marjorie Taylor Greene over her support for Kevin McCarthy as speaker, but soft slamming her, then saying a bunch of nothing. I love her, but she's crossed a line you cannot return from, but still I'm in love. To paraphrase Biggs, Republicans have a never Kevin 5, a strange name that could have worked more on, that includes Biggs, Rep Bob Good from Virginia, Matt Rosendale from Montana, Ralph Norman from South Carolina, and Matt Gaetz from Florida, attempting to thwart a McCarthy speakership victory. That anti-McCarthy GOP opposition force has since found themselves locking horns with a familiar face and once close ally, Greene. Marjorie is not America first, says Stu Peters, far-right radio host, but regrettably a faker and a liar who raised millions claiming she would impeach Biden, and now backs a man for speaker who refuses to impeach Biden. You gotta love how much they want to just get revenge for Trump's 2 impeachments. You're gonna impeach Biden based on what? Based on following the law? Even if you don't think he's accomplishing your policy goals that you wish he was. Impeach him based on what? What has the man done that is against the Constitution, that is against his oath of office? Not a damn thing. Gaetz and Greene are at war over this though, having even posted dueling op-eds. Rep Marjorie Taylor Greene's Twitter with the highlights. Let's start with my dear friend Matt Gaetz. Many of his attacks are comparisons to Paul Ryan. It's quite ironic given Matt's very first vote in Congress was for Paul Ryan as speaker, even when we all knew Ryan would never deliver the MAGA agenda. Why are those 5 lawmakers deceiving conservatives? I've been asking them for well over a month. The truth is they have no plan. It's an empty promise, which is why I'm speaking out. For anyone questioning Kevin, all you have to do is look at his public statements and promises. He's on record with the most conservative plan of any potential speaker in decades, not because he wants the gavel, but because he actually wants to deliver. Wow, that is a load of garbage. All you gotta do is look at his public statements that constantly shift as the man is without any sort of fortitude. And that's the point made moments later in his op-ed by Rep Matt Gaetz. Kevin McCarthy sticks his wet finger in the air to decide what position to take. Leaders don't wait to see what the crowd wants. Leaders also don't take orders from lobbyists. This is who Kevin is. In sports, when the team loses games it is supposed to win, the coach gets fired. In business, when earnings vastly miss projections, the CEO is replaced. In Republican politics, a promotion shouldn't be failure's chaser. I do love that Matt Gaetz used a drinking heavily analogy for his political analogy there, considering some of his past. Every single Republican in Congress knows that Kevin does not actually believe in anything. He has no ideology. Some conservatives are using this fact to convince themselves that he is the right leader for the moment. As McCarthy is so weak, he'll promise anything to anyone. Gaetz also took shots at McCarthy, that time not alcohol shots, for his relationship with Jeff Miller, a confidant and advisor who is a registered lobbyist for Apple and Amazon. I don't think he minds that he's a lobbyist just for those particular companies he doesn't like. He further blamed the Republican leader for the GOP's disappointing 2022 midterm election results, noting that McCarthy predicted as large as a 20+ seat majority when in reality Republicans will hold the House 222 to 213 and only a 9-seat swing. So you got infighting. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene causing discord and making the Republican Party even less cohesive. You love to see it. Jackson, how happy does this make?
Oh, this makes me quite joyous. Quite joyous. My melancholy has fled my spirit. but no, it's just, well, first of all, I love how my man was like, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's crossed the Rubicon with this because my name's now involved. Like she's never crossed the Rubicon with any of the million other crazy and insane things that she does. But the bottom line is that the Republican Party doesn't have a plan. And, interestingly enough, they defeated themselves. The whole party defeated itself in 2022. And going into the 2024 presidential elections, it's looking like they're gonna be doing a whole lot of the same. Donald Trump isn't just gonna back out of the election unless he's physically forced in jail, and he'll still be making noise from there. He'll still be finding ways, and whether it's him or his remaining supporters, to pull support away from people like Ron DeSantis or whoever else is running. So the Republican Party is really a mess. That doesn't mean that, they still took the House, so it doesn't mean that they are totally incapable of pushing forth their agenda, as we know they are through the Supreme Court, the court system in general. But most of the chances that the Democrats, and more importantly progressives, have moving forward is the fact that the Republican Party is in such disarray right now. So I say, let's get better candidates in office everywhere we can at every level of government.
No doubt, no doubt. And it's just so clear to me as well how blatant the politics is and how much Marjorie Taylor Greene is just more and more ingratiating herself even into the establishment Republican Party. I don't know at this point what's better or worse. Obviously, the less far right that these people become, the better. But at the same time, the more you work within the power structure, the more powerful the structure gets. It doesn't escape my memory that it was just a short while ago that Kevin McCarthy, the man that she is defending so vehemently, took her off all of her committee assignments, stripped her of all power officially in her role for just a large number of incendiary and irresponsible comments. And the tables turn. Politics does make such strange bedfellows. And if I were able to point my Jewish space laser at anybody, it would be at the two of them to get them to work out their differences. It's a peaceful space laser. I don't know if we ever discussed that. Marjorie didn't really explain. It's a laser that brings peace to all the children of all the land, especially.
Hippie laser.
That's correct. It's a hippie laser.
Yeah.
It also wraps around trees. It hugs trees. It's very nice. Do you think McCarthy's gonna get the speakership? Is it a foregone conclusion in your eyes, Jackson?
Probably so. I mean, the majority. Why wouldn't he? You know what I mean? People have been pushing him for it that way for a while, and it would be rather surprising if he didn't. And it's really not like the Republican Party has any other rising stars that really can compete with just his general establishment within the establishment of the GOP. So, I mean, what are they really? Who else? Matt Gaetz, especially with the case that's still pending against him, just that reputation. Anybody in the Marjorie Taylor Greene camp or the Lauren Boeberts, the Republican Party's not going to make them front facing. They'll take as much advantage of them as they can in terms of just winning elections in districts where they like that. But I mean, come on. And Matt Gaetz and people like him, they know that there's really nobody else with his seniority or authority. So he's just making noise because he can.
Yeah, there's rumble, maybe Jim Jordan, and I spell his first name Gym. If you look at his scandals and his past and the cover-ups that he's been part of. The only positive to a Jim Jordan speakership would be that the Republican caucus would save a lot of money on suit jackets. He really does not like to wear a suit jacket.
Yeah, I never pointed that out, but you're right. He always looks like I've never seen him in a jacket.
He thinks rolling up his sleeves literally means just rolling up your sleeves, and that's all the work you have to get done. I rolled up my sleeves today. Am I done? Can I go home now? And of course, you do see how responsible these actions are, how much of a ripple effect these actions have, rather, in the Republican Party so quickly. Look at Kevin McCarthy, already a man who was very powerful in the Republican Party, and he had it within his power to stop Trump after Jan 6, when he was angry, when he was on that secret recording speaking the truth. He had the ability to crush Trump right then. And instead, when he visited Mar-a-Lago a couple of weeks after the election, He brought him right back into the mainstream accepted Republican Party, and we have to continue living this national nightmare. So it will be frightening to see what a McCarthy speakership will do, but a little bit of comfort in my soul, at least, that the far right doesn't want him to be speaker. I don't know, maybe to some degree, some amount of evil will be slowed. That's the best we can hope for on that side of the aisle these days.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.